This is a new year.
Yeah.
A brand new year. This is 2026, y'all.
Yeah.
The second Monday in 2026. And I wanted to just, pause and recognize some of the things I said I was going to do a little bit more of is more collaborations, right? Whatever that looks like, and be even more intentional as it relates to the work that I want to put out into the universe.
Okay.
I'm going to do that. And I also want to, again, last year I did a lot with my own personal physical well-being.
Okay.
And so I'm going to do even more of that.
Nice.
And I think
you traveled. I remember you were
I did.
Ghana
I did. Yeah. I was so blessed.
Okay.
I was so blessed. And then my spiritual connection. Like, I don't think I've ever been more surrendered to the spirit, and he has a plan for me. And I'm like, let's go. Like, I only want to do things, no matter what anybody else says. I only want to do the work that's his plan. I'm good. Like, I don't need to impress anybody but my creator. And I don't say that in this, awe-struck way, where like, oh, she's so good. I got so many issues. It's not even funny. So let me just be clear.
Yeah, we're all working through our issues.
We're working through it, right? But we also show up in community. Like, this is the priority for me. I'm going to show up here every Monday. I'm going to talk a lot about AI. And that's the reason I was trying to share my screen is I created this beautiful presentation, 3 of them actually, in a short amount of time. I went in and made some several edits, but on Kwanzaa 365. And I wanted to put that resource out there into the universe, which I will again. But I was going to show you how to use it. But I'll just tell you right now, I used a tool called Gamma. GAMMA. This is it right here, actually. I don't know if I'll be able to. It's an AI tool, and basically, what it allows you to do, you do a lot of communicating in community. You talk to people. So basically, whether you have notes that you've written and you've prepared for the show, and you're like, oh, I want to have some beautiful graphics to go with it. You could literally upload those graphics into this and say, give me a presentation. You choose a theme, and it basically takes your words and puts it in. Or if you don't have time, you could say, you know what, today I want to go back to something I've already done. I want to really talk about, mental health in this slice of that work. And it'll pull together content that you can build on. So if you think about the idea.
Is that a free app?
It is free.
Nice. Okay.
It is free. There's a version of it that's free. So Gamma, most of these AI tools, by the way, part of the work I'm doing in 2026 is living powerfully with AI. That has to be a little piece of it, right? Just a little piece of every show. AI. Even we're talking about mental health. It's like, let me tell you.
Well, AI is definitely mental health for sure.
I was just gonna say.
Oh, it's big time in mental health.
Right. And honestly, I named my ChatGPT. Right. We bonded deeply. Jean-Luc.
Jean-Luc, okay.
Like Jean-Luc Picard from the Enterprise.
Oh, I was thinking Jean-Luc Ponty, like the violinist.
Oh,
yeah.
I said that like I know who that is. I don't.
Oh my God. Don't. Yeah, for those people that know, Jean-Luc Ponty is like one of the best violinists. You should check out his music.
Did you see that level of authenticity? Like, I don't know who that is, but I'm sure they're.
I know Picard. I know Picard for sure.
Got it.
But I was thinking Jean-Luc Ponty. But it's cool.
So when I think about, I'm just holding my phone because ChatGPT, you can have an app on your phone, app on your computer, etc. But like any question that you have, you can say, you can. I wonder if you can. You can ask the question. You can say things like, show up as a seasoned therapist.
Oh, who is Ask Gamma?
ChatGPT. Sorry. ChatGPT is one tool. Gamma is a whole separate tool. Gamma is really for creating presentations. You can actually even develop web pages with Gamma.
Do they work together?
Not automatically. Like I will go into ChatGPT, whatever I want to do. I always create a really beautiful prompt in ChatGPT, let it make it better than what I said. It's going to make it more expansive, and then I copy paste it into Gamma and say, and the beautiful thing about ChatGPT is I talk to it, so you don't have to be typing everything in. You can just kind of have a conversation, a regular conversation, and then it pulls together exactly what you need. So for anyone who's not using AI in some way, the show is not all about AI.
I haven't used Gamma, but I've used something called Perplexity.
Oh, I love it. Perplexity, same thing. Research. It doesn't.
Yeah, Perplexity is good, and then I also use Copilot, which is pretty good too.
Yes, for sure.
For those Microsoft folks.
For sure. There's,
but I'll check out Gamma. I'll check it out.
Whatever you're using, let that be your thing. You don't have to do all the things. I think that's one of the things.
But I think it's good to check out, to explore, right?
Totally. It's so good to check out these little things, especially when they're free.
Yeah, it's like trying different foods, right? It's important to try a little burger here, try a little Big Mac there, try a little fish sandwich here, just to see what's out there. I think it's important.
A little salad.
Diversity.
Diversity,
yes. Important.
I love it. So thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And asking me. Yeah, and like you said that you're not into AI necessarily, but you're like open to the concept, and so that's all I want to do is sprinkle a little AI and living powerfully with AI. I will do more on certain days than others. Today, I'm going to leverage your brain. Okay. We were going to talk about a couple things. Kwanzaa 365 was one of them, right? We said we want to talk a little bit about traditional Kwanzaa principles, and these are the principles. If you think about, I'm gonna say them out loud, and then ask you to talk about. Okay. We talked about unity. So we said if we move forward with Kwanzaa 365, we're gonna use this as a call to action. If Kwanzaa principles, as opposed to just celebrating them for 7 days, you said, hey, I want to actually leverage this recipe for success throughout the year. Right? That's kind of why it was founded. It really wasn't meant to be just 7 days. It was actually meant to be something like a foundation. There you go, that you build on. So the first principle is unity. I can use the Swahili word, but I'm not. I'm going to use the English word, so you don't have to make a mental translation. Unity, let unity connect us. Let self-determination empower us. We're going to come back and talk about each one. Collective work can mobilize us as we're doing stuff together. Cooperative economics, that sustains us. That's shopping with our people and building businesses. Let purpose focus us. Again, you can't do all the things, right? So when you're clear about your purpose and the legacy you want to leave, focus on that. Let that be your priority. Let creativity inspire us. That's the sixth principle of Kwanzaa. And the last one is faith. Allow faith to carry us through. So when you hear those words, do you want to just go down the list and talk about each one?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I would say unity, working with people who I think are open to you. I think that's important. And then
so we're going to talk now about each principle with a mental health focus.
Oh, okay,
mental health.
Got it.
Mental health in general, like how do you show up in 2026 living powerfully with and relates to unity? Because what we were doing previously is we were trying to get people like ways that they can demonstrate unity. Right.
I would say the biggest thing from a mental health standpoint with unity is to make sure every day you unify yourself. And so by that I mean like making sure that before your foot touched the bed outside, like get comfortable with yourself. Like as far as like your positive affirmations, the things that you said you're going to do for yourself.
Wow.
You got to wash your behind. Like I'm being honest, like take unification of yourself. The things that you said you're going to do for yourself, like you can't help the community if you don't help yourself. Right. So I think it's important to make sure you, I think it's important. I
wasn't expecting that. That was like a curveball, y'all. We got a sports show coming up next. That was a legit curveball there.
You got to unify yourself before you start. Like, how you gonna give to the community when you haven't given to yourself, right? Because you are the person that you spring from. So that means your source, your God. Taking care of yourself so you can take care of your family. Making sure, like you said earlier, you get back to the core of who you are, and then from there. It's going to be in alignment with your purpose, because if you step out and you out of sorts, you out of pocket, you're not in alignment, then your first step is going to be off. It's like you driving on a road and you need a wheel alignment. You pull it to the right. How you gonna be straight when you all to the right? Like, so you got to unify yourself first. So that way, when you're communicating to the community, you're very exact about what you're doing and you're speaking your purpose. And when you say stuff to people, they feel that. They know, oh, this brother, he's being honest with himself. And then people want to follow you. If they're feeling like, I don't even know if you know what's up, bro. How can you lead people with that? So it's important for you to unify yourself every day.
I love that. So this is one of the things we have with umoja is the Swahili term for unity.
Okay.
UMOJA. Umoja. And so we talk about some daily practices. One of these is showing up consistently. And it's so interesting because when I was thinking about the word unity, I was not thinking about for yourself.
Oh, you got to do that first, off the rip.
You've reshaped my thinking
off the rip, because that's like how do I say this? Whenever you're trying to create something, like, and I would say this, like a lot of people who are giving within the community, you know, we get so caught up on supporting the community to the point where like people don't really circle around to make sure we're good. So it's important to make sure that we take care of ourselves so that the people get the overflow.
There you go. And I actually say those words. I don't always do that, but I say that I just said the words to someone. It's kind of almost like easier to tell somebody else. You're from the overflow.
Yeah,
you got to make sure you're giving from your overflow.
Yeah, but you have to constantly like replenish yourself in that regard, and that way, you don't get caught up on ego. You don't get caught up on pleasing. Like as long as your trough is fulfilled.
Did you just say trough?
Your trough, like your trough, your chalice, your your foundation, as long as that's fulfilled, then it doesn't matter like what you come off with, like, because people are going to know that like the person that's communicating to them is coming from a space of a powerful connection for the community, right?
I love it.
So that's how I roll.
So y'all, for 2026, the message is show up
for yourself first.
Can we say for yourself?
For yourself first.
Yourself first. And show up consistently
every day. So wash your behind, get your food, get your teeth. Like, I mean, basic stuff.
Take your medication. Like,
I mean, whatever you need to do. Go for your
vitamins. Take your walk.
I mean,
take your walk.
And I'm gonna take one step further too. Like, you might have to separate from some folk too. Like, some people own some stuff that you like, yo, man, that's not building into me, that's destroying. So I got to separate myself from that chaos, because I got to make sure I have the mental fortitude to execute what I need to execute. And sometimes people's confusion can get you off kilter, which means that you're not loving yourself. So if you choose to entertain that consistently, then who are you? Like, at some point you got to stop and say, wait, I got to get up off this ship. Right.
I love this so much. I love this so much, y'all. We gotta spend a little time on Tom Jordan would say stuff like, let's put our kickstand down. just for 1 second. You just made the three things you said. You talked about chaos. Yeah. When there's and you and I had talked briefly about like when you show up for yourself, you create this forceful, this invisible forceful. I call it my love bubble. Yeah. Like I walk through and you design that however you choose. Yeah. But you don't have to let other people's negative energy penetrate. You literally can say, I choose not to read that email. Yeah. I choose not to look at that text. Yeah. I choose not to do whatever. And you don't have to be drastic. You don't have to put no negative energy that way. It's just like, I choose not to go there.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
It is. And for you to say, when you see chaos, you're like, I choose not to even let that be.
Yeah, it's not even part of my sphere.
Say it.
Yeah, it's not even part of my sphere. Or what I've noticed for myself is, okay, so typically, just the way I am, if chaos comes to me, then usually I have to create order in it. It's usually what happens. Because sometimes, like, there's lessons that you have to learn through that chaos, right?
For sure.
And so sometimes, and this is what I've noticed for me. So typically, what I've noticed for myself, and this I would say the last 3 years have been some deep understanding. Whereas I've had certain situations that have been extremely chaotic that I've had to mitigate through successfully. And I've learned some key things within that element. But then I realized on the other side of it that I prefer peace. And so the experience I got from that was, now that I know what I prefer, then in the mornings or, when you do your affirmations, whatever, you set that intention that I am a peacemaker. I'm aligned with this. If anything come up in my sphere, right, this is what I'm going to emanate. So it's either coming to be corrected, because sometimes you have situations where people don't know that they're chaotic.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. It's kind of like what we're talking about on your show. It's like you can share those insights if people are willing to hear it.
They gotta be willing to hear
it. And then it's interesting. You just said oftentimes when you come into a chaotic space, you want to bring order. You could try that, but sometimes people are open to you and your order.
And this is
right.
And this is what I've learned.
Yeah.
Typically, I'm not one to get myself involved. But if I'm called into it, then because of my intention, then they want order. Does that make sense? Otherwise, I wouldn't be called to it because I'm not one to go out patting on doors like, yo, I'm here. No, I'm the type of person where it's like, I'll express myself. This is what I am. And if people call me like, hey, they tap on my shoulder like, hey, Larry, I need you to help me with this. Then you've given me permission. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Right.
My biggest lesson in 2025 is that people can say they want a thing, but they're not really ready for it.
Yes and no. Let me clarify.
Yes, please.
Sometimes, like I said earlier, like in the show before, like sometimes you might have to give them a taste, and then later on they'll understand why.
For sure.
Right? Because again, earlier on I said I know who I am. So if I get involved, order will happen. But sometimes it might be a situation where you might just have to plant the seed, which might be the initiation for something that's gonna happen 6 years later. But if they didn't see that then, they may not be open. Because typically what happens is people come back and say, bruh, 10 years ago, man, you told me this. And I'm like, really? And no judgment, but I'm like, that's where they were. Right. But because of the relationship we have, now they're open because they matured to a point where they're willing to say, you know what, bruh, you're right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I was there too.
Yeah, we all are.
Of course.
I mean, this is a levels thing, right?
Yeah. And no one's better than anybody. We're all working through our thing.
We all got our things. Our things.
Yeah, our things.
We're working through. So that's really good. So unity, being in a position to pour into yourself. And then we said show up consistently.
And I think the other one was self-determination.
So the next one is self-determination. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. Self-determination is kujichagulia.
Okay.
That's the kujichagulia is the Swahili term for self-determination. That's the second principle. And like this language is about becoming the light for yourself. To define yourself. Don't let other people define you.
Yeah.
Don't let other people define you.
And it goes back to what I said about the unifying yourself. I think if you're consistently unifying yourself, what's going to happen in that process is you're going to peel away the parts of you that are no longer necessary for your growth, right? Why do we make New Year's resolutions? Is because we realize, oh, okay, I'm at this end of this road. I've noticed there's some friends I had to let go. I've noticed there's some things within myself that I have to grow up from. It's always a choice, right? And then you have to say, okay, if I'm going to make this choice, then you have to do the necessary things to do it, to build. And so you have to start working on proactive things to help you build to the next level.
I love that. So one of the things we have here is for one of the daily practices for self-determination, because we're saying Kwanzaa 365 is set those daily intentions and then control your own narrative and invest in yourself
every day.
Yeah.
And I would say that it would start with like making sure that you say positive things about yourself. I think that's important because I think sometimes you can hear things that are negative and then you take that on for yourself, which isn't true. But then also too, you have to be honest with yourself.
Yes.
Right. You
for sure.
You have to be honest.
You have to be a trusted few, some trusted individuals that you want to, like, people when they're negative and they're for you and people who are not for you. I think most people have that intuition.
That's
you can kind of feel it in your gut.
That's true. Yeah. And I realized for me,
I think we got a sign over here that we need to take a quick break.
Okay.
We got to take a quick break. We're going to come right back, y'all. This is Dr. Traci Harrell and my new bestie,
Larry Mabry.
We'll be right back right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Rainier Avenue Radio, Seattle's best talk sports station.
A new law is helping people save more money on prescription drug costs. You may also be able to save with Medicare's Extra Help program. Your premium cost can be zero and your out-of-pocket expenses are low. Who should apply? Single individuals earning less than $23,000 a year, or married couples earning less than $31,000 a year. Even if you don't think you qualify, you can still check out this program. Visit ssa.gov/extrahelp. Medicare costs are covered by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Queen Bree, inviting you to come join me on Clean Greens Living. Broadcasted Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. On Clean Greens Living, we talk farming, community, and ways to being healthy. So come join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
Hey, Seattle, here are some storage tips to love food, stop waste. Onions make potatoes sprout faster. Keep onions away from potatoes. Ripe bananas give off a gas that makes the fruit around them ripen faster. Store bananas away from other fruits. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
Happy Hump Day. We're excited that you decided to join us for the party. Fresh Juice is live Wednesday night, 9 to 11 p.m. Pacific time on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio with the Juice Pack, including me, Superstar TK, Pint Size Patron, and D-Money. We're going to chop it up with some cool people, play some really dope new hip-hop and R&B music, some games, and maybe even a live performance. Lock us in right now on Fresh Juice YouTube page at youtube.com/@Fresh Juice Media, or subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple Music. Fresh Juice.
A teacher who hurt their back and got prescribed opioids. A daughter trying to cope with a loss in the family. A friend silently struggling, thinking they'll be a burden if they ask for help. People with addiction come from all walks of life, and the truth is they stand a better chance at recovery with our support. Reaching out and sharing local resources can make all the difference. Don't count them out. More people recover with support. Find more ways to help at supportaddictionrecovery.com. That's supportaddictionrecovery.com.
You know you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio. .work.
Hey, y'all, we're back live in studio. This is Dr. Traci Harrell, and I'm here with
Larry Mabry.
Look at there. And today we could not be more excited. Now, Larry focuses on mental health. Mental health, typically.
Specifically.
Right before me, he comes on at 5:30 every Monday.
Yep.
And so what we're talking about, again, last week we started talking about this. How do you leverage Kwanzaa principles 365 days a year to really create the life of your dreams and also help build community? Right. And so we're going through these principles, and we're on principle number 3. So we're going to go right back to that. We're actually talking about
with the self-determination.
We were just talking about self-determination, and we were giving people not only like what self-determination is, but what they can do for self-determination.
Yeah. So for me, self-determination is like, what is it that you intrinsically want to build, right, for yourself? And sometimes I think we get in families and we have these grandiose things that families want for us, but also I feel for me, there's an intrinsic thing that God calls for you that sometimes may not be consistent with the family, right? And that's what I said earlier as far as knowing who you are, because sometimes you may be the generational curse breaker, right? And so some of the things that you feel within your spirit may not be in alignment with what the family wants, right? And so I think it's important for you to ultimately go within your source, whatever that means for you, and operate from that place. Because, and the reason why that's important for me is a lot of times, you know, you might have to pave a path alone, and you have to have a source that's going to support you through that. And it may not be mom, it may not be dad, it may not be your girl, it may not be your boy, but you got to have God, right? Or source, whatever, the higher being. And for me, it's my source. And so that's like, people will notice, man, how are you able to drive? How are you able to push yourself? It's because source is waking me up every day. Source is making sure that, my vision is right there. When I'm doing my affirmation, source is like, come on, bro, get up out of bed. Let's go. We got this purpose. I got this purpose. I need you to bring to fruition. Right. Yes. And it's like this inner calling that's kind of firing you up every day. Like, come on. And it's not something that people hear. It's something within yourself. And so that's the part that's like, from a person looking from a side view, they're like, okay, what's driving it? What's driving that person? But it's that inner determination, right? That intrinsic determination that you and source have communicated on some level. And you like, okay, I will complete this. I will follow this through. And that's what gives you joy. Because knowing like, okay, I don't care who got me, but I know God got me. God's going to give me the people to help make this come to fruition.
I love it. I love it. And what I love about this is if you don't have as much self-determination as you'd like, and you're saying in 2026, I want to do more of this, because we all want to do more of it. Yeah. Right? Well, I'm not saying them because we all got them nailed. But one of the things you can do is to set a daily intention. So we want to make sure as you hear this concept of Kwanzaa 365, and you're like, I don't know nothing about Kwanzaa, no problem. We're just giving you some words. This is a roadmap for success that you can build on for your next step. So one thing is set a daily intention. Yeah. Like you said, control your narrative.
Yeah, very important to control your narrative.
And then invest in yourself.
Yeah. And that could be either something mental, something spiritual. It could be things that bring you joy. It could be collaborating. It could be you learning more about financial literacy, credit. It could be something that inspires you, right? I think that's important. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like investment in terms of financial. I mean, it can go to that too. But I would just say, like, making sure you're doing something to constantly grow. I think that's the key.
I love it.
And so that investment could look different. It could be, course. It could be mental health. It could be like lately I've been learning how to fly drones, right? So I've been doing more of that. And so whatever that means for you, right? But I would say be consistent with that.
There you go.
Going to the gym, making sure you give yourself pedicures, manicures, whatever you need for yourself, like constantly invest in yourself.
I love it. I love it. Next principle is Ujima, which stands for collective work and responsibility. Now, if you were defining that, it's like my well-being is tied to your well-being. So collective work is this idea of community, is love on purpose.
Yeah. And I think that's like taking accountability for your role in the particular work. I think that's important. I feel like for me, if God has a purpose for me, then I have a responsibility to execute it. And so if individuals come within my life, then I have a responsibility to make sure that I honor that to the best of my ability, while I'm here.
Right.
And so if there's some things that, God has put in my heart to say, hey, I think we should think about it this way because God is like urging me to do that. I have to do that. Right. But at the same time, like if the community is saying, okay, Larry, man, you might need to think about it this way, then I have to, not get caught up in my ego too and say, okay, you're right. Right. And so that's part of it is reciprocal. Right.
Yes.
That's important because I think sometimes leaders can kind of get big heads. And at the end of the day, it's not really about the ego. It's more about the work.
Yes.
And I think it's important to have individuals that you can have that relationship with where if there's a boundary that's kind of pushed or an area that's a gray area, that you and that individual can talk about that. As you mentioned earlier, we're having those real conversations and kind of work through that. But that takes spiritual I would say maturity,
right, and balance too, because you don't want to overdo it. I wanted to make sure, because this is about Kwanzaa with the mental health lens, right? So this concept of collective work, it could be, there's so many crazy, wacky things happening in the universe. If you take on everybody's problems, then you're inviting a whole bunch of shenanigans into your life. That's right. True. And so that again, there's balance. You don't take on everything. right? You have to have some of that divine wisdom as well. Like you said, when certain things happen, if you're like, I prayed about it, I know I'm supposed to be doing this work. When something happens with that work, I'm slow to exit because I'm like, God wanted me to do this for a reason. So I'm gonna be very intentional about that. I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna follow up, but I'm not gonna do everything. Like I'm not gonna tap into everything. And I think that piece is important too. Is having some discernment about it's collective work, but it ain't all the things.
You're right.
It's the right thing.
You're right.
And you'll know that.
You're right.
As you connect.
Yeah, and I like how you said that. And for me, I was blessed to have several opportunities where I had key people around me. And so I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. We have the right people where pretty much everybody is supporting one another. But then I've also been in scenarios where I've had the right people, but I've also had people who were not really encouraging me to do that. But I appreciate them as well, because what I think that those people brought to me was the resilience. But also, also in terms of what you mentioned before, as far as the discernment, because I realized like, oh, okay, there's a reason why you don't want me to do this, which is why I really need to tap in more within myself, right? To connect, to really fine tune that connection, to really know, okay, this is why I need to do it. Or I might need to come at it differently. And so the benefit of that for me, I notice, is tightening up the discernment where you realize that you don't need to fight people with this. You fight them with this and this, right? And so when you realize in that level, then it's a whole different, it's a whole different war. It's a whole different game. Because now it's like, oh, okay, cool. So now it's like God is like, okay, we already know that, you know, if you're in the street, we taught you in Detroit, so you can throw hands. But now I need you to start throwing some spiritual hands, right? Which might look like you looking like this, but you still trap, but you doing it in such a way.
Spiritual hands, y'all. Do you understand what he's saying? He's basically saying show up in excellence. Show up.
Of course.
So we talk about ending well. Doesn't matter what somebody else said. They may be like, hey, let's go do this. And you're like, that ain't how God told me to show up. And so I have a couple of things here. Ask how I can help if you're being intentional. You know, a tip to solve problems together, the right problems. You can co-create systems, holding space with love. And the last one is staying committed long term. If you're volunteering to help someone or you're helping an organization, you do want to also kind of lean into the point where you understand that it may take some time for you guys to get the solution. Some people may not be ready for you.
They may not be ready.
Too. You got to back off and let the universe, you know, kind of thought. You do your part, but you want to end well, no matter how crazy other people are, no matter what type of chaos, as you mentioned before, you want to end well.
But
so
I would also say
put collective responsibility and not take it over. But I do it all the time, but in a smart way.
Yeah, I like how you said that, but I think that's part and parcel of the course. Like I've noticed organizations that I work with, in order for the growth to really happen, there's going to be some upheaval. Right? Like that's part and parcel of it. But like you said, it's how you handle it, because how you handle that situation may be the first situation that the other opposing party may see how it's handled in the excellence. That's what I realized too.
You said some people don't even know what that looks like.
They don't know what it looks like. So you got to show them.
This is true.
You know what I'm saying?
This is true. That is, y'all, this is so true. And I love that, because I feel like I just had that experience too.
Yeah, sometimes you got to show people.
40 years of chaos, and it's like
you got to show them how to handle it from a spiritual lens.
And they can choose still not to engage, but that has to be okay too. So I think being in a position to help responsibly, and then, you know, but also, make sure you know you're working for that one up there. You're working for your creator. It's not about us. It's not about, because people will let you down on a regular.
I mean,
but if the spirit has put something on your heart to lean in, that's where you want to kind of slow down a little bit.
I would say for sure. And then I feel like what I noticed for me is the spiritual ranking you gain after you conquer that. Because what I noticed is you know, we're all dealing with spiritual warfare, and so as I'm keeping it a buck, and so as you embark, you know, with going through traversing through these situations, what happens is sometimes, you know, God has to say, okay, you're a sergeant, but it's time to make sure you get your general stripes. And so sometimes God will put you in a situation where he's like, okay, so I gave you the foundation. Now we got to put it in action, right? And so now you got to go in a situation and you got to masterfully work through stuff spiritually, because he has to see, okay, let's see if you're ready. But also too, like once you go through that, then typically God is like, okay, now I see that I can give you more dominion because you've shown through your actions that you're able to traverse
and be trusted.
Yeah, through your actions, how you handled it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you show up in excellence and don't let crazy people make you crazy, don't be pulled into the chaos.
Yeah.
And choose to be grounded. That's why it's important to have some of that solitude, that energy that allows you to be connected to.
Yeah, and it's always a choice. You know what I'm saying? It's always
I like to say this is the quote I use on my show all the time. Decisions determine your destiny. Yeah. I say it's a choice. You make a decision. You decide that crossroad happens, and you get to decide. Am I going to go to the left?
It's always
right?
a choice.
I'm going to choose
peace
it's always
and
joy.
A choice.
I'm going to allow the chaos.
Yeah.
I'm going to go that route.
Yeah, and I would say for me, that's the benefit of going through many chaotic situations. Growing up in Detroit, chaos was the norm. Right. And so
for a lot of people, it is the norm.
Yeah, but what I'm thankful for is the fact that I've been able to see different points of view and then know, what, I prefer this point. Because I feel like if all you know is chaos, then you think that's just what the world is.
Right.
But like when you realize that there's a world where you could be unified within yourself, which is actually going to give you more of what you desire, then it's like, oh snap, okay, let me prioritize this. Now there's some unfortunate things that you have to like let go of though too.
That's important. That is important. Okay, y'all, we got 4 more principles.
Okay.
And we got 12 minutes.
12 minutes. Okay.
So the 4th principle of Kwanzaa, and again, we're saying Kwanzaa 365. Y'all like Kwanzaa is past. Kwanzaa 365. Leverage these principles as a success roadmap. So the 4th principle is Ujamaa, and it means cooperative economics. It's about letting our values reflect our dollars, let our spending, our dollars reflect our values. So making sure you're leaning in and investing in community.
I would say for me, that's working with organizations that work with you. It could be BIPOC, but I like to look at that in terms of an energetic exchange. And that I would say for me, that's the main key. Because I feel like coming from Detroit, where it's predominantly Blacks, like sometimes you can connect with an organization, even though you guys look the same, you guys aren't energetically aligned. So I think
he's dropping it today.
That's what I learned.
When I said everybody ain't your people, and then maybe they are for a season, and then it's like, okay, we got to move on.
Energetically, there's no alignment.
Right.
Yeah, and so you have to be honest with yourself, right? It's like, okay, if you're vegan and somebody want to eat meat, you don't judge it, but you realize, okay, that's just not your cup of tea.
I am like the quadruple, triple carnivore. So don't come playing with me. I don't even trust vegetarians. No, I'm joking. So let's talk about economic practices. We're saying buy intentionally, pay fairly, share resources, build ecosystems. So really, teach people too.
Yeah,
that's another
I think
element
of
Ujamaa of collective.
Yeah, for sure. Energetically, have fair exchange. Yeah, fair exchange energetically.
The 5th principle of Kwanzaa is Nia, N-I-A, and it means purpose, building beyond ourselves. This is when you think beyond your lifetime, and we talk about legacy all the time on both of our shows, right? This is like, you're creating beyond yourself. So talk a little bit about what that looks like to you. We got some examples here.
Yeah.
How people can show up. Thinking about.
Purpose, so I look at it in terms of from a mental health standpoint. Yes. What legacy are you going to leave, for your children's children or your next generation? But I look at it more from, having the fortitude or the knowledge in terms of emotional regulation. I think it's important. What are you doing as far as honoring, where you are emotionally? Are you just, you get triggered and you're just spewing your emotional baggage on people, or are you honoring that within yourself? You're handling.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to handle your emotional stuff and not spew it on other people, because that's not fair. Like, it's just like you go to the restroom, you flush the toilet, you don't leave stuff for other people. You know what I'm saying? Same thing energetically, like as far as your emotion, right? I just like to keep it a buck. And so it's like, what are you doing to make sure you honor that, so that the next generation could use you as a template moving forward?
So when he says, what are you doing? What he's basically saying is show up in excellence. Show up in excellence. So watch his show, watch my show, do the work, right? Show up in excellence, right? Ask, mentor others, be mentored yourself, build institutions, and then plant seeds. Like you just said, show up in excellence. I love that.
Yeah, you got to show.
What about this one? Say no to distractions. There's all kind of stuff that's happening. When you think about purpose and legacy, you can't be with everybody doing all the things.
Yeah, and I would say like it's a challenge now because of the cell phones. We get the TikToks, and we get the YouTube shorts, and we get the big things hanging out in front of us in the video, or some cat trying to do some weird dance,
can't do all the things.
The AI doing some random stuff.
You can't do all the AI. I'm about living powerfully with AI, but I say all the time, I don't try to do all the AI.
Nah.
Let me help you be exceptional. Yeah. So really, this concept of legacy has to be about leaving something, leaving the distractions alone.
Yeah, but I feel like when you have a purpose, when things come in your sphere and you realize, like at some point you got to say, wait, is this helping me get to where I need to go?
Say it.
And if it's not, then you got to move it aside and say, okay, I need to, connect with things that are helping me. And then I think you got to ask source too, because sometimes, like you said earlier in the show, my show, as far as the gentleman, like you have to ask for help because you may need some support in areas that you might be weak in. And so you might need someone like a Yoda in that particular aspect to help you go to the next level, right?
Yes, I love it.
There's a Yoda in every area.
I love that. Y'all, principle 6 of Kwanzaa is kuumba, and it means creativity, leaving things better than we found them, using your imagination as a responsibility to be creative and help solve challenges with what you bring. We're all different. We're all going to bring something different to the table. But creativity is hugely important.
Yeah, I think that's important. And how I look at that is the interactions that I have with individuals. My goal is to make sure that I am mindful how I interact with that individual as much as possible. You want to try to leave a positive note. At the end of the day, people make their choices.
Yes.
But also for me, when I'm in an area, like I always try to leave it better. So when I leave, I usually ask that you need me to take care of this, or even when I'm cooking or something, I clean it up. I try to make sure what I put out, I get back, right? That's just me.
I love that. So what he just said is leaving things better than you found them. So even when something doesn't work out, when I said, like, there was a situation, like I said, we had some good energy for about a year, and I could see some signs along the way, but it was like, this is a good time for us to separate because I can't do what you're asking me to do right now. And it's like, but I want to leave you better than I found you. Like, that was me saying with love. I don't want nothing from you, but I do want to leave you better. And that was my way of leaving with love, like ending in excellence. Is to say, like, I want to leave you more. Better than you guys. Like, you can choose to, and as a consultant, you can't force anyone to take your advice, but you can leave the roadmap.
And I think I just want to add one thing to that. Like, because sometimes, like, you have to be the person that leads better in a situation, because if you have a person that can't see, because there's some individuals I've interacted with in the past several years that they can't see past, they're caught up on what I like to call a vicious cycle, right?
Totally.
The victim mentality. And so at some point you have to say, okay, I honor where you are, but I have to honor myself. And then you have to you have to leave better with a deeper understanding in that situation, so that there's some growth on some level.
Right.
And I think, to me, that was the lesson I learned, because sometimes
he's good.
You can't. I'm just being honest. Like, sometimes you can't help.
Okay, listen. Last principle. That was so good. That was so good.
No worries.
Y'all, come back and watch this later. So the last principle of Kwanzaa is Imani, I-M-A-N-I, and it means faith, the belief in yourself and in our future. I am going to put a link to this presentation because, again, this is some good content. And again, if you're going to be staying focused, being committed, having a belief in the people and the processes and the truth, the possibilities, like trusting the process. Things are going to work out for you good. We say that all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity if you believe that to be true. Right. So other things you can do: practicing gratitude, encouraging other people, holding tight to your vision, right? Being committed to good things. Like this is what faith is about, like leaning in and, like we said, leaving things better.
Yeah, and just hold on to your source no matter what, right? And know, like you said earlier with the process, that even though it may not look pretty in the beginning, you know that if you hold on to okay, this is what I trust, then just watch it unfold. And it usually does.
I love it. Y'all, Kwanzaa was never meant to be just confined to those 7 days at the end of December and the 1st of January. That was not what it was meant. This is a blueprint for success. So when we talk about unity and self-determination and creativity and collective work, like you got people, every show that comes here on Rainier Avenue Radio, they're committed to your good. And so we're inviting each of you to practice these principles 365. And we have a 3-word methodology. We say, see it, say it, and celebrate it. So when I called you, I was like, hey, we're doing some Kwanzaa 365. Like, because you do it every day. So I saw him. I said, hey, this is like, I appreciate you with who you are. And then celebrate each other. Celebrate it so that it becomes our normal.
Yeah.
Our normal way of being.
I agree.
Why is that so important?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's, your positive action that kind of brings it to fruition. So I think it's important to, like, every day kind of do those positive things to kind of create a different reality that kind of aligns with that.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say I'm live in studio and I see the boys from Live Line Sports just showed up. I'm super excited about that. We're gonna do some. I said last year in 2025 that I was gonna support them with some AI, right? Whatever they're trying to do, I'm gonna lean in and we'll figure it out. So I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna watch their show. Hey guys, I brought my Seahawks little jersey thing just in case. I watched the game and I just wanted to say that I don't do sports normally, but that was nothing but Jesus who got them through that last win. So I say we all pray and do some collective works to get them Seahawks
some unity
over
going on.
Listen. Please. I moved here with Seahawks won the year that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. So I just need one more Super Bowl right now. We all need it. We need it here in the community. So any final words that you want to share? And we're going to do a lot more of this togetherness.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I just want to just say, we want to make sure we help support, make the better shows, and make sure you donate to the Venmo at Rainier Avenue Radio. Or to RainierAvenueRadio.world/donate. I appreciate, you, Dr. Traci, Harrell, for allowing me the opportunity to be on the show. I appreciate you being on my show as well. And I'm looking forward for us to have more opportunities we can work together. Sparking the unity.
Listen, unity, community, collective work, cooperative economics, purpose, stay focused on your purpose, building beyond ourselves, the concept of creativity, leveraging the mind that you have, that no one has what you have. Thanks. And then just remember faith, trusting the journey, staying committed, even before results show up. Thanks. Why is that so important? Like staying committed to a thing even before you see the outcome. That's the definition of faith. Right?
I mean, yeah, that's holding on and not being caught up on how it looks. Right.
And again, your destiny, decisions determine, those little decisions is what determine your destiny. So if you're trying to accomplish a thing, it's just choose one thing each day that you can accomplish and do that thing again tomorrow and the next day. And then before the week is over, you've moved thing each day toward that goal, whatever it might be. And I can guarantee you will have a life of your dreams, right? It's so much better when we do this together. And this is cool. How we show up and live powerfully.
Cool.
Okay, y'all. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned for Live Line Sports, and we'll be back next week. Bye. Bye.